Impact Wrestling returning to the Lone Star State with Lone Star Stampede coming up Friday and Saturday, August 26th, 27th. They will be at the Factory in Dallas. Tickets available now. Go to axs.com to get your tickets. And someone that will be figuring prominently in that event joins me now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. He is the 9th Triple Crown champion in Impact Wrestling. He's been an X Division champion, been tag team champion, and now, for the second time, he is the current reigning and defending Impact Wrestling World Champion. It is Josh Alexander. Follow him on Twitter at walking_weapon. Josh, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. With an intro like that, I don't think I could be doing anything less. You know what I
mean? I try to give you all the props, man. Josh, you are definitely the definition of a fighting champion. You've had several title defenses in Impact and on the indie scene. Most notably, you've defended the title against Tomohiro Ishii from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Eric Young, Joe Doring, Jacob Fatu at Ric Flair's last match, and then most recently you defended against Alex Shelley at Emergence. I mean, I hate to ask this, but which one was the toughest?
This might be a surprise, as pretty much all those names were bigger than me in stature, size, strength, and all that other stuff up until Alex Shelley. But I would say Alex Shelley might have been the toughest title defense, toughest match singles-wise I've ever had in my entire career. So, coming off that, I'm happy to have retained my world championship at Emergence against him, but it definitely took its toll.
Well, and I can imagine that Alex Shelley has he's been doing this for a minute or two, and he's wrestled all over the place, and he's wrestled for everybody. He showed up in NXT once, to reunite the Time Splitters with Kushida. So I can see that. What was it like to defend against Ishii? I mean, they call him the Stone Pitbull for a reason, because it looks like he is not. It's like head, neck, everything is just thick, and he hits so hard.
Yeah, Ishii's a sawed-off monster, man. That match was definitely on my bucket list for a long time now. I've been a big fan of his work, watching New Japan myself, just as a wrestling fan for so long, and then to experience it one-on-one in that ring, it's definitely unlike anything I could have expected. I thought watching as a fan, I knew what to expect from Ishii, but you get in there and that guy, he's got a gas tank that just keeps going. And like, as somebody who is known for having a gas tank in that ring and just being relentless and intense the entire time, it was wild to be in there with somebody that's nearly 50 years old and still pushing it like that, taking me to the absolute limit. So,
yeah, like I say, he's always a wonder to watch. I mentioned in the intro, you are the 9th Triple Crown champion in Impact Wrestling, and you join a pretty lofty list. I mean, it's AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Abyss, Austin Aries, and then 3 guys that you share the locker with currently in Chris Sabin, Eric Young, and Eddie Edwards. How proud are you that you are a Triple Crown champion? And I guess how much does that motivate you to keep that world title around your waist?
Well, first and foremost, I'm extremely proud of all the accomplishments I've been able to achieve here in Impact Wrestling. In that first 3-year contract I had, like you said, I became a Triple Crown champion, and like I if you know my story, I broke my neck. I never thought I was ever going to get a chance in a company such as Impact Wrestling. I thought I was just going to be remiss to wrestling in Canada on the independent scene for the rest of my career. And I was happy with that. And everything on top, like everything I've achieved since with Impact Wrestling, that's icing on the cake for me. And it's not like I'm taking it in stride. I'm certainly out there trying to achieve my goals and stuff like that. Now, as world champion, carrying this championship, carrying the brand, representing the locker room and all that stuff, I want to try to do it for as long as I can. So the next goal is to go down to the history books alongside the likes of the AJ Styles and Kurt Angle, so that when you think of this company and its history, you think of me alongside those greats.
Well, and I think you're well on your way to doing that. One of the things I have noticed about your work, it's you, like you said, you started out, you were primarily it was for a long time you were a tag wrestler with Ethan Page, and you kind of just methodically broke out of that, and now this singles run has been as electric as any I can remember, and it's one of those things where it feels like the world title belongs on you. It's one of those, you're meant to be the world champion, and I like I said, I admire your work. I really do. Let me ask you this: one of the things I always like to find out, because yes, you're fantastic in the ring, but you're humans. You have off time. So I know you have you have a lovely family. But what do if you're not wrestling for Impact, you're not doing an indie show, what do you like to do off time when you don't have to worry about anything wrestling?
Well, I mean, you said it. Like, my kids are 4 and 7 years old, so they monopolize all my spare time when I'm at home, and I have any free time outside of the gym and pro wrestling, which is completely fine with me. I take a lot of pride in being a father, and I want to be there for them as much as I can, even though my career keeps me on the road. It's all about balance. But if I ever do get that downtime and those kids are asleep, me and my wife, we like to just curl up on the couch, spend some time together, and watch some bad TV like Naked and Afraid or something like that.
I have seen the promos for Naked and Afraid, and it just I look. I was in the Army for a little while. I'm a Boy Scout leader, all this good stuff. There's no way on earth they're going to get me naked and afraid somewhere in a wilderness, with mountain lions hunting you. I no. Let me ask you this. You Bound for Glory coming up in October in Albany, New York. You're defending Eddie Edwards won the 6-way match. I mentioned Eddie Edwards, Triple Crown champion as well. He's been tough. He's been involved with the Honor No More faction. Give me your thoughts. I know we're a little ways away from it, but give me your thoughts on defending that title against Eddie Edwards at Bound for Glory.
Well, like a lot of the matches I've had as champion, like my entire character, I guess you would say, is completely genuine. I represent myself as a wrestling fan, a longtime Impact fan. So I've followed Eddie Edwards' career since pretty much the start. He's done everything there is to do in this business. He's had high profile matches on pay per view with Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, and so on and so forth. And the interesting part about that, much in the same to me and Alex Shelley at Emergence, is that me and Eddie Edwards have never had a one-on-one singles match. So for the very first time, we will lock up in a ring one-on-one. It will be in the main event at Bound for Glory, the biggest stage we have in this company.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of pressure, as I've said in the past, I seem to always rise to the occasion when the pressure is at its highest, and I'm going to embrace it. I know that match is going to be one of the toughest of my career. I have, all the Honor No More stuff aside, I have an immense amount of respect for what Eddie Edwards is capable of in that ring, and I think it's going to be something special.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think it will be. You just mentioned something, and it made me think. Is there somebody that you have not faced that you would like to defend that title against? Someone that, again, a first time ever match. And, let's open it up. I mean, in Impact, outside of Impact, working for another company, who's that one opponent that your absolute dream opponent to defend that title against?
I can name a ton of names. The automatic dream opponent would be the AJ Styles, because that is the figurehead for the entire. You think of TNA, you think of AJ Styles, and I think when you think of Impact Wrestling, I want to represent Impact Wrestling. So if we went head to head, one-on-one, I think that would be the marquee matchup. But there was a guy that showed up around Slammiversary, and watching him in the ring with Chris Sabin on Impact on Access TV just absolutely tear it up. I would really like to step foot in the ring and defend this championship against Frankie Kazarian one day if possible.
That would be a good one. I mean, Frankie's a good friend, and I tell you what, that would be a hell of a match, you and Frankie. Let's talk about Lone Star Stampede coming up Friday, Saturday, August 26th, 27th at the Factory in Dallas. Impact Wrestling has put on some amazing shows up there in Dallas, and this looks to be, another one. Just talk for a second about Impact coming to Dallas. It's going to be hot and heavy. What can fans expect when they walk into the Factory and watch Impact Wrestling?
I mean, much of the same that we've always kind of delivered when we come to the factory. We have come here for television tapings and pay-per-views in the past, Hard to Kill, Slammiversary, so on and so forth. But we have a few marquee matchups that have already been announced. The Good Brothers will have the tag team match with the Motor City Machine Guns.
Mm-hmm.
Masha Slamovich is going to go one-on-one with Deonna Purrazzo, which I think will be Masha's biggest test yet since she has joined this company. She is on an undefeated streak, seemingly climbing towards that Knockouts championship. So if she can get past Deonna Purrazzo, she'd be well on her way. But that is a big if, because I think Deonna is one of the most technically sound professional wrestlers in the world, man or woman. So you got some marquee matchups, and I'm definitely going to be in that ring in some capacity. And when I get in the ring, I'm going to give 110% every time to make sure everybody gets their money's worth, because not only am I representing myself in that championship, but I'm representing this whole brand. So if this thing's going to grow, we got to go out there and tear it up.
I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 times more. Impact Wrestling, they have had some of the best shows, best wrestling. It has been one of those companies, and I mean, the history as well as anybody. They've been on that deathbed so many times, and they come back, and now they've had this run of the last couple of years. Ironically, through the pandemic, they've had this run of just putting out some of the best content ever, and I applaud you and Scott D'Amore and everybody at Impact for making that effort and for making Impact Wrestling must-see television on Thursday nights on Access TV. Real quick, one of the big highlights at Lone Star Stampede, Mickie James is making a big announcement. Now, there has been a lot of rumors about possibly retiring, whatever. I mean, she is multiple time women's world champion in WWE and in Impact, NWA. I know, this, you've shared at least backstage with her. You've been out there, and we know her well. She's a good friend of the show. I talk to her all the time when she goes Super Bowl. Just give me your perspective on working with Mickie James.
Well, her energy is infectious. That's the first thing I can say about her. She's been in this business for so long, and she still shows up to work every time, eager and ready to do the best job she can. Which this, you can get jaded from time to time if you've done it all in this business, and she has certainly done it all. And I think one of the things that I really take away from Mickie James is that she comes to this locker room, and everybody that's in this locker room, all these knockouts especially, they're here because of Mickie James, because of people like Gail Kim. Those are the two women more than anybody that have inspired this entire generation of women's wrestlers. They want to come to Impact Wrestling to be knockouts because they want to be just like Mickie James. And I think, Mickie James, that means a great deal to her. And when she shows up in this locker room, that's why she's coming to Impact Wrestling and make this announcement. Regardless of what it is, if she decides to hang up the boots, it's going to be on one of the greatest careers of all time, man or woman. And, we'll be sad to see her go, but I know she'll be a part of this wrestling company in some capacity. So.
Absolutely. And I love her to death. She's fantastic. And like you said, what a Hall of Fame career for sure. Impact Wrestling, Lone Star Stampede, Friday and Saturday, August 26th, 27th at the Factory in Dallas. Get your tickets at AXS.com. He is the Impact Wrestling World Champion, Josh Alexander. Follow him on Twitter at walking_weapon and watch him and the rest of the great stars of Impact Wrestling Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on Access TV. Josh, man, I appreciate the time. I've always enjoyed your work. We've talked a little bit. We saw each other at WrestleMania weekend. And by the way, I wanted to ask you real quick, you still do some independent dates. So you balance that with your work in Impact. I know it's a drive, but it seems like you're very motivated to, whether it's an Impact ring or an independent ring, you give the fans 110%.
Yeah, and one thing that I want to really say about the independent days is that I want to wrestle the younger up and coming talent. That's what keeps me hungry. That's why I go to these shows in Texas and New York and Chicago and all these other places, because I want to see the next crop of guys that are coming up that are going to be joining me in Impact Wrestling and other companies like that. That's what keeps me hungry and motivated. So.
Absolutely. Josh Alexander, the Impact Wrestling World Champion. Thanks so much for your time, man. All the best to you, and looking forward to big events up in Dallas.
Thank you for having me.